Ryan Garcia admits he's trolling the world about his recent meltdown to gain attention to expose what he learned after committing an occult ritual to conjure up demons.
They don't know, but I've been training every day. I've been trolling the world. Not trolling, I'm trolling with truth.
Yeah.
I'm adding humor and truth together. I conjured up demons. I did to tell them to fuck off, bitch. And they got angry.
What up, everybody? Esoteric Eddie here. Namaste. So today I'm finally going to dive into this whole Ryan Garcia thing with you. As usual, I got a compilation that I put together of all of this craziness that has been ensuing with Ryan Garcia. And we're going to watch these clips together and break them down and analyze them. And I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is going on with this young man. First of all, I just want to say before we get into everything, of course, he says in that clip that he's been trolling the world, but he's been trolling with truth and comedy. So obviously he's aware of and acknowledging the fact that, you know, some of this might be comedic. And of course, the subject matter is not funny. It's very serious. But I think it's very telling as to where he's at mentally, because a lot of people are kind of saying he's crazy, he's on drugs, as we'll also analyze throughout these clips. But I think I wanted to start with that because I think it's very important, you know, that he's admitting that and he's aware of the fact that this is, you know, somewhat trolling, you know, and some of it is to gain attention. And I don't think it's to gain attention for his fight. You know, I mean, there's so many other ways he could have done that. I think that there is something actually going on with this young man in his mind and in his heart. Something that he saw and experienced that was very troubling to him, as we'll also see throughout these clips. So right off the bat, do I think he's crazy? Do I think he's lying? I mean, obviously some of the stuff he's saying is true. You know, I mean, he said a lot of wild stuff. So he's, so far, if you're not up to date on all the crazy stuff he said, you know, he's claimed that he's gone to the Vatican and seen the archives. He's claimed that he has a picture of an alien. He was kidnapped and taken to Bohemian Grove, this and that. I don't agree with everything or think everything he's saying is true. Maybe that's some of that. Maybe those things or some of those things are the comedic trolling things that he's mentioning. But everything else, you know, the human trafficking, the Bohemian Grove, the elites taking advantage of children, all of that other stuff is true. And we've known that for many, many years, you know. But I think more than anything, what we're witnessing is a young person kind of spiraling into a psychosis or Kundalini awakening after coming across all this information and also having some paranormal and spiritual experiences himself. And so he's kind of like just coming to realization as to how wild and corrupt this world really is and what's really going on. And being in the position that he's in, I think he really does want to expose it and do something with it. But he's quickly learning that it's a very lonely path, and it's going to cause many people in your life and in the world to turn against you. And it's almost a futile mission, you know, and I think that's the sad realization many of us make when we decide to go against the shadowy elite. But anyway, let's get into it.
They don't know, but I've been training every day. I've been trolling the world. Not trolling, I'm trolling with truth.
Yeah.
I'm adding humor and truth together.
Like usually I could get past things because I'm mentally strong, but this one was it was like, nope, you're not getting up today. I'm like, damn, I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, I can't remember shit. I'm like, it was deep, man. I mean, if I was gonna go in, like, I'll tell you the real story of it. Like, I had a supernatural spiritual experience. I can't even.
Was you on something?
No, I don't do drugs, nothing. It was just prayer. At nighttime, boom, it happened. Got depressed because I didn't know what happened to me.
Did you get a therapist, a spiritual leader? Like,
no, just one day, like I was playing poker and I was just like depressed, drinking, and this dude comes up to me and goes, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I'm like, and I was just like, "Yeah, bro, I guess." And at this time, I'm already checked out. I don't really care. And then he goes, "Do you know who you are?" I said, "Yeah, I know who I am." And then he goes, "You know, God has something for you. Like, what are you doing? Like, wake up." And then boom, I just snapped out of it.
I mean, right there, you see he's on the Breakfast Club, and this is way before like all of this craziness happened. Well, not way before. This was actually like about a week before his meltdown began. And he's telling the story about him having this spiritual experience, whatever that was. And we might get a little more into it in these other clips that I'm going to show you. So obviously, you know, he had some experience. Something happened to him that really shook his mind and soul. And for him to just like share that, you know, on this platform, I don't think he's lying about that. You know, I think he's being truthful about it. So yeah, I wanted to start there because he had this strange spiritual experience. What it was exactly, we don't know, but he does allude to some more stuff that happened to him in these later clips. But I think, like, you know, it might have been this spiritual experience, but it might have also been a Kundalini awakening, which are pretty much both in the same thing. And I just recently made some videos explaining what a Kundalini awakening is, so go check those out. But basically, we all, I wouldn't say all, but most of us in this life have an awakening moment, have a moment where we realize the world we thought we lived in is not the actual world we live in. And so our paradigm shifts, our mind somewhat breaks as we go through this psychosis and this relearning and this analyzation of our world and who we are and what our position in it is. And, you know, with that paradigm shift can come a very real Kundalini awakening, which is a physical process in which your nervous system, cerebral spinal fluid, pineal gland, all activate at a rapid rate, causing basically you to go into a psychosis state where your entire awareness expands in every sense of the word: physical, spiritual, emotional, mental. And so I think whatever happened to him could have been a combination of all that. And he says in the clip that, you know, he was praying, and praying or meditating is a prerequisite for a Kundalini awakening. You know, going into a meditative or prayer state, an introspective state, can induce a Kundalini awakening. So just on a physical, practical sense, he definitely cracked his mind. His paradigm was shifted. But in a spiritual sense, I think he went into prayer and his heart and soul was really asking for something. And I think that something was truth, you know, and being a powerful young man, you know, on top of his game and one of the best in his industry, he's got a lot of power, a lot of energy. He's very connected because of all the energy that is around him. So I think with all of that, his love for God, which he definitely has, as we'll see, the energy that surrounds him, good and bad, he had some very intense prerequisites, you know, to have a Kundalini awakening, but also to have God intervene and answer his prayer. So I think that you know, he was definitely asking God for something, and God answered. You know, and as I said in the last video I made about prodigy, you know, when you ask God for knowledge, for wisdom or you know, certain spiritual powers, that's not going to come without obstacle and without sacrifice. So I think right now we're witnessing the sacrifice part. You know, he asked for knowledge and he got it, and now he has to deal with the responsibility, which is having your entire mind shift, having the people in your life shift, and everything shift. So I think at the very beginning of all this was prayer, was him asking God for this, and so he got it. And now he's spiraling into the Kundalini awakening, and it might be hard for him to sustain that. But as we'll see in these other clips, it wasn't just him asking God. He also dabbled in the darkness. And so that's also tumultuous. So yeah, let's get back to it.
Why do you think all those moves? Why do you think all those moves were planned, with the coming out with the white horse, with this, with that? You know what I mean? Why do you think I did that? All these things, I knew what I was doing. Every move was calculated. Every move, I didn't have one misstep. I had everybody backing me. I told all my PR people what I'm attempting to do, and they were like, "Are you serious?" Like, I was like, "Yeah, I'm serious. Watch, I'm gonna commit and I'm gonna do it." And I just did it. God gave me the authority and the power to do it, and I seized it through amongst all the lots and all the people trying to confuse me, throw me off, say what you're doing is a little this and that. I'm like, who cares? Watch what happens. And look, they listen to the devil. I listen to God. God gave me authority. It's over for everybody, bro. I was 2 years old. They raped me. I have proof of that too. That's where it all started, bro.
Who took you, and who was doing these things to you?
The people in black robes, bro. I conjured up. No, I don't even want to tell you. No, this is deep. God asked me to do this. I'm gonna just do it. I conjured up demons. I did to tell them to fuck off, bitch. And they got angry. They got. Come on, bro. It's real though. I know. You want me to show you? I'll turn off the lights right now and show you that it's real. They're already calling me to tell me to stop. I don't give a fuck, dude. I've already had a meeting with them.
Damn, right there. So he admits that he performed a dark ritual to conjure up demons. Now, of course, to tell them to fuck off. And it's funny, I've had a similar thought of doing that before. But yeah, so that's obviously troublesome. I mean, you can't just conjure up demons and just flip them off and be like, fuck you, and just think they're going to go back, you know? So not only did he ask God for knowledge and contact God on a serious vibrational level to provide him answers, to provide him prophecy, revelation, and knowledge, but he also went the dark route and conjured up demons to try and exercise his power over them, which is, I think, ultimately okay, because Jesus in the Bible gives us the authority over demons. It's troublesome, it's tumultuous, because they also have their own power and position and authority. And yeah, God, there's rules to all of this, right? There's levels, there's rules. And so if you don't do things properly, open things properly, close things properly, you can allow them authority over you. And so, yeah, man, he's definitely messing with occult and mystical spiritual powers. But in the beginning of the clip, you see him talk about this white horse, which is strange. He rode on a white horse to one of his recent matches. And as he explains, he did all that by design. So you see, he had an experience, and he witnessed something, and he felt something, and he learned something, and he was slowly disseminating that information and that energy to us subliminally. So he knows what he's doing. He rode on that white horse to signify revelation, end times, you know. And so he was slowly disseminating what he learned through subliminal messaging. And as he says in the clip, this was planned. So way before the meltdown happened publicly, he was already slowly preparing us for what he was going to do. And he, as he admits, he told his PR campaign, or his PR people, that like this was what he's going to do. So all of this was planned. You know, him looking crazy or whatever, this was all planned. He's been planning to do this. And that's pretty smart of him, because the stuff he's saying and the people he's attempting to go after is very detrimental and serious. You know, the stuff he's saying can get him killed. And so I think he's smart and slowly preparing for this. But yeah, man, you know, he definitely has awakened to something and has definitely made it his mission to, you know, show the world what it is that he knows. And some of what he's saying, you know, many of us have already known this for many, many years. We've been awakened to it for many years. Many of us have already gone through our Kundalini awakenings, our psychoses, because of the knowledge, but we're kind of just witnessing him go through it. You know, what he's going through is the hero's journey within the conspiracy community, within the truther community, you know, within just the wider mystic community. He's going through his Kundalini hero's journey, and we're seeing that play out. And so for us to call him crazy or whatever is pretty judgmental and hypocritical, because I mean, I've gone through that. I literally had my ex, who was the closest person to me, like freak out, you know, was thought I was going crazy, and it was damaging our relationship, as it is damaging his relationship right now, and we'll get into that later. You know, so yeah, again, man, this is a young man who reached out to the spiritual world, got the answers he was looking for in a real and serious way, and is now going through a Kundalini awakening and spiraling out of control because of that, and is attempting to gain control of his mind and body, so that he can continue and complete his mission, which is to educate all of us on what is actually taking place in this corrupt world, so that we can fight it back. Anyways, let's get back to this. So here are some of the crazy tweets that he's been putting out, and there are a bunch, but here are just some of the notable ones. Elon Musk is the Antichrist. This one made me laugh in particular. Yeah, I don't know. Elon Musk, the Antichrist? Come on, that fucking pudgy dude. Every couple years, somebody news the Antichrist. I don't think Elon Musk is the Antichrist. He's just the anti-gas electrical guy, whatever. I don't know. Obviously a shill or whatever, you know. I'm not advocating for him, but he's not the Antichrist. He's too lame to be the Antichrist. But I definitely think that the Antichrist is going to be revealed sometime soon. You know, we're seeing, like, I feel like all this reversal stuff in our world that we're seeing, like you know, everything's being reversed. You know, a man is a woman is a man. You know, this and that. Everything's like, everything good is becoming evil. Everything evil is becoming good. It's prepping us for the Antichrist, who's going to be the ultimate reversal. You know, literally the reversal Christ. So we're being prepped to accept the reversal of everything, including Christ. Okay, so April 12th, they will kill me. Oh, man, that's going to be a crazy one. Hopefully not, bro, but I don't know why he chose April 12th. That's an interesting date. Astrologers, numerology people, decoders, break it down. Why April 12th? Come on now. June 6th, this one's kind of funny. Maybe I feel like this is part of the comedic trolling he's doing. June 6th, earthquake, bad. Like, okay, bro, thanks, dude. June 6th, huh? Okay, well, I'll make sure to be far away from any buildings that day. Let's see here. This one is a little longer. What he says, they actually, oh, this one's funny too. So he claimed to have gotten access to the Vatican archives, and so, which I don't believe that, but I mean, you never know. I mean, he is like a world champion, you know. So, and he also claimed to have that Benjamin Netanyahu wanted to meet him, and he was like saying he was going to bring peace to the Middle East, all this weird stuff. Yeah, so he says here in this tweet here, they actually have the files of Jesus, the Ark of the Covenant, the giants, the clones, the aliens, files on everything. They're the ones that let me in. Played they ass. That's funny. He's like, played your motherfucking ass. You thought I was going to just go to the archives and, you know, ask for some basic shit. Nah, homie, I got the files on Jesus, the giants, the aliens. Yeah, and what? Yeah, I don't believe that, but that'd be super cool if he had it. He says below that one, I'm with my wife Drea. All the other stuff is cap. Made me almost lose my family. Yes, we'll see later. You know, there's been some rifts between him and his wife, which we'll analyze. But yeah, that's a funny one, dude. The files of Jesus, the Ark of the Covenant, whatever. Here's another paragraph of stuff. Yep, people are leaving me because of the hate and pain of a long history of hurt. I'm calling for peace in the Middle East. Prayers for Jerusalem. Although it is wrong, the killing everywhere on both sides, I'm calling for peace. What about Gaza? Yeah, you know, just using his platform to really, you know, expose the corruption and call for peace. But yeah, man, I mean, this is an interesting thing we're witnessing here, and I don't know what the outcome of it is going to be.
Now, as I got older, of course, you ask yourself so many questions, especially with my type of mind. I ask questions than anything. As I went through that whole process, I really got revelation and I've been honored to be blessed to be in the presence of God at time. When you search and you continue to search and you get enlightened in moments, you want to scream it out to everybody and you want to tell everybody of what you discovered. It's like Socrates, somebody, there's a situation he put people in a cave, right? Or
Allegory of the cave.
Cave, right? And then all they seen was the shadows, and that's all the reality they knew. And then one guy escaped it, and then he was able to see the light and where the shadows were coming from, and he discovered the truth outside of that cave. Then he went back and tried to tell those people, and they looked at him like a madman. Kind of same way of the things I discovered with my faith and the things that I've been enlightened with.
Again, he's signaling here that he has learned something, he's experienced something, and he's trying to get us to see it too. That was a video way before all of the meltdown stuff on the Impulsive podcast. And yeah, man, so this is a smart kid, this is a smart guy, and he's trying to let us know, like, yo, we're living in a fucking slave matrix. Demons are real, God is real. He's freaking out. But I feel like, again, he asked for this knowledge and he received it in full and got some very serious knowledge and had some very serious experiences, and it's kicking him off into this spiral. And as we'll see, he's not handling it well. It's a lot. And trust me, I went through that too. It's like, you literally break your mind, dude. You go through a psychosis and it's very hard to deal with. And some people never get out of it. Some people just go completely crazy. So definitely pray for the homie, dude, because what he's trying to do is noble, although he might be doing it in a very psychotic way that is damaging his relationships. What he is ultimately trying to do is noble. And again, I relate to that, because when I went through one of my psychoses, it was damaging my relationship. My ex was, she would be like, this is all you ever talk about. Like, you're going crazy. Like, yeah, because I was just so fanatical about it, like about everything that I was learning, what's going on with the world. And dude, I remember I was like fucking depressed when I learned about like the Anunnaki and everything and the truth about the Bible. And I still had to go to church and sit there. I remember one time, like, I was super sad and depressed all day after going to church with my ex. And she was just like, what's wrong with you? And I remember, and this is at a point in my life where like, I kind of like gave up on the whole idea of heaven and hell, which obviously I have different outlooks on that now, but I still believe in the eternity of the soul and God and stuff. But at this point I was so defeated. Like I thought like, at that point, I thought nothing mattered. And like when we died, nothing happens. We'll just fucking disappear into nothingness. And it's all a lie. And the government's evil and everything. I remember she asked me like, what's wrong with you? And I just looked at her like, well, I've learned that all we have is each other. And we should really appreciate that. I remember that moment. I don't know if she remembers that, but like I was trying to, like, I understand like what Ryan is going through and what people like him go through when like you learn something and you like can't really say it because for one, like you know you're gonna look crazy, and two, you don't know how to articulate it, and three, you don't want to like hurt the other people. You don't want to hurt your people by telling them the truth. And so I was trying to like kind of tell her in a weird cryptic way that like heaven and hell aren't real, God is not real. So I was like, all we have is each other, and this time right now, we should really enjoy it. But what was really going on in my mind was like, heaven isn't real, hell isn't real, God isn't real, nothing's real, we're just going to die and we're going to disappear forever. So it's like, yeah, man, these Kundalini awakenings, they're tough. But as you see here, he had a revelation, he realized something, and the presence of God entered his life. And again, when you ask God for something, bro, it's not going to come without sacrifice. All right? So let's get back into this.
I hit a ceiling peak. I broke through the ceiling peak, and I got to the point where like this is too much and nobody's talking about it, but I don't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? Like I hit that peak. Once you see like the rituals and them sacrificing kids, auctioning them off, playing around with their heads like that, like it's a joke. Like, bro, this is not a fucking, like, this is real life. And Everybody's looking at me like I'm lying. I'm like, dog, what would be the need when all my endorsements and everything I have? What would be the need for me to be like lying about it? Why would I do that to myself?
He said some weird shit. So I don't know what he saw. You know, I mean, I've seen the Alex Jones Bohemian Grove footage. I have it on my channel, of course. But there's no kids with having their heads cut off and played around with in that video. So I don't know what he saw, dude, or like what dark web video he saw. But that is like horrifying to think about. You know, so again, he obviously saw something that freaked him the fuck out. And he's trying to wake us up. And you know, if you really stop and think about it, it is a pretty fucking horrifying thing. Like when you really stop and think about like what's going on out there in the world, it can drive you crazy and it can make you depressed, because not just the overt stuff, right? There's overt war going on, there's overt homelessness going on, child abuse and all this stuff. But like the covert stuff, man, freaks me out. Like this whole human trafficking stuff is so eerie, you know, and the fact that our governments are interconnected with it, it's just like, it's fucking eerie, dude. And I really pray and hope for the day that all of it gets exposed and exterminated, because it's really happening, man. So for somebody to like actually realize that, like in full, to like actually feel the energy, and not just feel the energy, but to probably witness and experience that firsthand as he might have, it's fucking crazy. And it can drive you crazy, you know? But that's also why I've had to find a middle path for myself in a more calmed and tranquil state of mind and beingness, because even if it all is happening, we can't really do much if we're in a frantic and frazzled state. That's a part of the journey. I mean, the frantic, frazzled state is going to happen, but eventually you got to get out of it and bring yourself back to tranquility, you know, back to a moderate state where you can observe it all and really plan out what it is you want to do with the information and experiences you have. So, yeah, this young man definitely saw something, witnessed something, and he's spiraling, bro. Let's get back into it.
Wait, Brian, so to all the people that are asking why you don't show the clips, can you answer that question for them?
I can't show the clips. They're already out there. I mean, there's so many clips, it's unbelievable. I know everybody wants me to put out my evidence, but I can't put out my evidence or else they're going to come after my family. All the little kids dying, all the auctioning kids off, all the killing, all the weird stuff. I'm over it already. There's nothing funny about this at all. They're fucking killing little kids and murdering them, sucking their blood. You think I'm going to fucking let it fucking see? Now I get hot, but I'm going to calm it down. Because everybody's like, can you
Bro, we
stop? Why?
believe you. Fuck
Why
them.
should I
Fuck the
stop?
haters. They're gonna talk.
Why should I stop? Why should I stop? If I know this is true, why should I stop? I don't get it. Everybody's like, yo, put the drink down. Okay, fine. I won't fucking drink. But I'm still going to tell the truth. I just need Jesus Christ and the truth. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm standing up for what's right. I'm tired of it. It hurts my heart to see little kids get hurt. And you know, it does make me so like confused at times because I can't believe this is real. But I can now. But it does throw my mind off a little bit. But I'm okay. They're gonna try to kill me, bro. They already told me what they're gonna do to me.
For
They
real.
told me they're gonna make an example on me. That because I say Jesus so much, they're gonna put me on a cross and they're gonna crucify me in the whole world and say, "Yep, this is what we do."
I mean, man, I kind of feel like he might have just stumbled upon some like very dark YouTube videos or something, or like, you know, maybe he did see some real ass shit, or maybe he just watched some conspiracy videos and is like freaking out. You know what I mean? I know he likes to smoke cannabis, so maybe he just got really fucking high one day and spent like fucking 12 hours just diving into like Alex Jones, David Icke videos, whatever. So it might be that he actually witnessed some crazy shit, or it could just be that he just literally just been watching too much YouTube stuff and it's freaking him out. I don't know, man, but he's definitely going through it. And what he's saying is true, you know, and it's impactful, and it is stuff that should be exposed. All right, so in this next part, he talks about the multi-dimensionality of life. And so this is kind of where things got really interesting for me, because, you know, I love the topics of consciousness, simulation, all of that stuff. And so this part is kind of weird because it's kind of different than from everything else he's been saying. Everything else has been like, God, Satan, the elite, Illuminati, whatever. But this part is strange. So I wonder what happened to him to make him want to talk about this. So he talks about the multi-dimensionality of life and how basically this experience is infinite, but specifically how this experience of good versus evil is infinite. And this is something that I've been pondering as well, and something that has been pondered by other people such as Philip K. Dick. Excuse me. So I made a video on Philip K. Dick that you can go watch. Now, Philip K. Dick, for those of you who don't know, is like one of the most prolific science fiction writers of all time. His books influenced The Matrix, Terminator, and a bunch of other movies, like A Scanner Darkly. And what's interesting about him is that he claims that most of his stories weren't just stories that he came up with, but they were actually downloads that he got from other timelines, other dimensions, parallel universes. He had this medical procedure that was done to him, and during that medical procedure, he actually had a revelation where he saw a different timeline, a parallel universe in which evil took over, and we fell into this new world order police state. But the true Christians, as he called them, fought back and won. And so Philip K. Dick believes that, because he won, because him and the Christians fought back, that God granted them everlasting life in the form of infinite experiences. And so they died in that universe in the war, but when they died in that universe, they were reborn in this universe. And so it's kind of this weird game of infinite lives. So when we die in this universe, we go to the next one and the next one. But the game of life is good versus evil, and it's just going to always continue to some strange end. I don't fucking know. But Ryan Garcia mentions that, and I believe there's some truth to that. I believe there is a weird infinite fractalization of experiences. And what's strange too is like, this is an idea that nobody really seems to talk about in psychology, or I don't even know what field to fucking put it in. But this is something that I've realized, that you might have realized or not. But there is a certain subset of personalities on Earth. And not just personalities, but actual physical avatars. Like just yesterday, my homegirl was like, dude, I was in LA the other day and I met this dude that looked exactly like you, acted exactly like you, and his name was fucking Eduardo. And I'm like, oh, great. Turns out I'm a fucking NPC bot, but, and it sucks, to think that like, to realize that we're not as unique as we think, because the truth is, dude, like there is a subset of personalities on this earth and a subset of avatars, physical avatars. And actually, this is something funny that I've always wanted to do. Whenever I have enough money, when I become a millionaire, I'm not going to get a Lambo. I'm not going to get a mansion. What I will do is I want to hire 100 people that look exactly alike or very similar and put them in a room without them knowing and just see how they react. I think it would be the fucking funniest thing ever, dude. Please, somebody, any of you YouTube influencers with a bunch of money, somebody do it. I want to see this social experiment be done. But yeah, anyway, dude, there are a subset of personalities and avatars, and there's some of them that I've noticed, that are very frequent, there are certain faces, right? There are certain faces that replicate throughout the world, and we would call them clones or whatever, but I think it's more weirder and complex than that. I don't think that there's a cloning farm. I think that there's just actually a limit of personalities and physical avatars for whatever reason. Sometimes I think that, okay, maybe if we were offsprings of the Nephilim, the Anunnaki or whatever, maybe this like generic, whatever it is, 2,000 subset of personalities and avatars are the reason they're so similar is because every subset of personality and avatar is actually coming from a specific Anunnaki or Nephilim parent, but I'm telling you, man, you can give me any person, you yourself, and I guarantee you, eventually I'll run into somebody that looks like you, acts like you, talks like you, everything, dude. I'm shit you not, man. It's a strange, what do they call it? Anecdotal experiment that I've been working on. But yeah, man. So, and even Ryan Garcia, dude, I just met somebody a while ago, like a month ago, at the bar. I was with my homegirl, and we were leaving the bar at the end of the night, and this kid just comes up to us, like he was on one. He was going through a psychosis. Looks like Ryan Garcia, acted like him, talks like him, and he was even going through a psychosis at this moment. And he was just like super gleeful about this thing called the egg theory, which again has to do with the multi-dimensionality of life and the infinite fractals of life and how we're all one and the same, whatever. So this kid comes up to us and starts talking about the egg theory. Have you heard of the egg theory? Whatever, you got to watch the egg theory. And like, I was just like looking at him and analyzing his behavior. And I just like, brother, I believe you're going through a Kundalini awakening right now. And he was like, what's that? What's that? I'm like, just look it up, man. Just look it up. I don't know. I was tired at that time, exhausted. So I didn't want to get into it, but I'm just like, if there's anything I want to say to you right now, it's you're having a Kundalini awakening. You got to figure out how to sustain it. And the funny thing about him and Ryan Garcia is they have very similar character traits, and they have this very like narcissistic, I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm not trying to be like, you know, triggering or whatever the fuck, liberal with it, but they have this very like arrogant and confident personality trait, both of them. And I remember telling my homegirl this that night. I was like, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of one of my cousins who kind of look like him and kind of talk like him. And they have this very like similar, arrogant, like selfish, narcissistic personality. And because even that kid was saying that night, he's like, I know you. Like, I know your whole story. Like, I already know. I'm getting the downloads. He's like, we're all the same. He's like, you're me. I'm you. And I'm just like, bro, get the fuck out of here. I'm not you. I'm me. You know, I don't like when people spiral into that weird part of the Kundalini awakening where they think everybody's one and you're me and I'm you. It's like, I get that, but it's like, no, dude, like, you're you. Okay. Like, please step to the side. Give me some breathing room. But yeah, man, so, it's a strange thing, dude. Like, there's a subset of humans, there's a subset of personalities and human avatars that get replicated for whatever reason, dude. Like, you're going to start to notice it if you haven't before. Like, I wish I could give you a good example. I mean, we've all seen the celebrity examples, right? But even like the everyday average person, dude, like there's so many, like some of my friends and family or just strangers that I've met like 10 other people that look and talk just like them. So I'm like, what the fuck is really going on, dude? Huh? Tell me. Are we living in an archonic matrix? Are we all just NPC avatars? Are our souls just trapped in NPC avatar bodies? Who is the main character? Who's the main character of this shit, man? Huh? Anyways, yeah, so let's get into it. This is Ryan Garcia talking about the multidimensionality of life and the infinite game of good versus evil.
Well, this whole life is multidimensional. You're in a plane of multi parallel universes, and we've already done this. We're just doing it again. This one might be the finale. I don't know. It's really complicated to the point that I'm like, sometimes it's even hard for me to wrap my head around it. So basically, we already been here. We're just learning ourselves again. Like it's been passed down. Like it's really hard to really grasp. Like you really need to lock in when I'm talking to you about this, because this will really shift your whole understanding on what life and in universe and perils and who's Jesus and how it continues and continues and continues and continues and it never stops. It's always going to happen. But anyways, we're going to get to live on heaven. Thank God forever. Let's go, baby. New heaven, new earth. This is what God meant. New heaven, new earth. This is
Thank
the
you, Ryan.
time, and it's happening. We're all going to live in eternity. Let's go. But you just got to accept Jesus Christ in your heart, and it's over. We're here.
We're here. Yeah, man, pretty strange message, but I get it. There is this weird quantum infinite aspect to all of this that we're not quite understanding yet. And I like that his message always revolves around Jesus Christ, but even that sometimes is strange, and I'm skeptical about it. I just did a podcast with the homie Paranoid American, shout out the homie, and we were talking about that, like how you know, the Bible and Christianity kind of like indoctrinates you into being, like an NPC conformist, you know. And I mean, I just did a video, a little short reel today that I posted on Instagram about how today's culture, you know, pushes this word, the goat. You know, yeah, he's the goat, the greatest of all time. And we always like mock people by calling them the sheep. You're a sheep, you're a sheeple. But in the Bible, it's the other way around. The sheep are God's people and the goat are the evil ones. The goat has always been, the goat has always been a symbol for the fallen angel Azazel and the other fallen angels. So it's like weird how it's reversed, right? You know, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm hesitant. You know, I'm split between adhering to the Bible's philosophy of us being sheep, you know, and being God's sheep. And also the idea that maybe that's a weird subliminal program to get us to be NPC conformists, to be sheep, to be sheeple. I don't know. So it's like, I appreciate Ryan Garcia's message centering Jesus Christ, you know, because I believe in Christ as well. But a part of me is also like, is that like just NPC of me, you know? But I mean, this is just me like battling, you know, myself and having doubts and insecurities because I know the truth. And the truth is that the Abrahamic faiths are all just dogma that have been institutionalized that are based on the Anunnaki mythologies. However, that does not negate the fact that we are still here and we are very real beings with very real souls. And I believe Christ, Yeshua Christ, Joshua Christ came to reawaken us to that fact. Okay, aside from all the dogma and institutionalized religion, we are still here and we still have a creator that we should give praise and thanks to. And so that alone is enough for me to know what's going on, you know, and whose side the elite of the world are on. Okay, so in this next section, we're going to see how the people in Ryan Garcia's personal life are handling this. And the conspiracy side of me wants to believe that, you know, his family, his handlers are trying to shut him up because they know he's telling the truth. As we'll see in the opening clip, Mike Magic or whatever, the co-host on the Impulsive podcast, aggressively tries to get Ryan Garcia to kind of shut up about what he's doing. And it's weird because he's coming at it with like this aggressive approach. And then you'll see these other clips where his wife kind of tries to get him to stop talking on the phone to the Twitter X Spaces. And so it's strange. So again, like the conspiracy side of me is saying like, okay, these are his handlers, you know, trying to MK Ultra him, trying to get him to shut up and stop exposing the truth. But then the practical, more realist side of me is like, no, this is his wife who's probably afraid and concerned for him and his well-being, who's trying to get him to stop feeding into this and stop communicating and connecting with the world, who are also feeding into it, you know, and placating his spiraling mental health. And so, yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, it could be either or, but nonetheless, in my personal experience, I would say it's probably the latter. You know, in my personal experience, when I spiraled into Kundalini awakening, psychosis, when I've seen my friends spiral into psychosis, you know, it's easy for you to think like the world's against you, like you're all Illuminati. What she does, you'll hear him say like you're possessed, you know, basically calling her a demon, you know. So it's like at that point, I'm like, yeah, bro, I don't know, like you're kind of losing it, you know what I mean? Like once you start to turn on your family and you start to think they're demons and they're agents, they're working for the Illuminati, that's when it's like kind of getting bad and you're kind of going into psychosis, you know, because they've been there for you before. They've been there for you your whole life, you know. So it's like, why now? Just because you've learned something, they're going to turn against you. It's not that they're turning against you. It's because they're concerned. They've never seen you like this, you know. And in the Kundalini Awakening video I did, I talked about how Gopti Krishna went through his Kundalini awakening and was like distancing himself from his family, and that caused them to like be worried because it's like, yeah, bro, like you're not fucking eating anymore, you're not showering anymore, you don't hang out with us, all you talk about is how there's demons everywhere. It's like, of course they're gonna think you're fucking crazy. But I do think it's interesting, you know, how they aggressively attempt to get him to stop. You know, and again, it's probably because they're concerned and they've never seen him like this. Or, and I don't want to placate the spiraling of his mental health, or it could be that they are MK Ultra handlers trying to stop him from exposing the Illuminati. I don't know. You make up your mind.
Mike Magi, speak.
Yo, Ryan, what's up, man? Hey, bro, listen, I haven't
Please
talked to
tell
you.
me
I
that
don't know
you're
what's
not
going
gonna
on
try
with
to.
you, but
But please tell me you're
you
not
need to
gonna try
talk
to.
to your people, bro.
No, they
You
all.
really
Why
need
do
to
you
talk
think
to
they're
your
all still?
people.
Wait, why do you think they're all backing me up? Because I've only been showing them the truth,
Bro, your actual people,
bro.
your
They all
family
love
are
me, bro.
not
They see miracles,
you
bro.
can't, bro, you can't. Ryan, listen to me. Listen to
Why
me.
do you think?
You know me. I've talked to you about mental health before. I've
But you
talked to you
have
about
no
this
balls,
stuff.
bro. These things are happening to little
Bro,
kids.
Ryan,
You're okay with little kids getting raped? You're okay with little kids
to the
getting raped?
Vatican to
Is
see
that what it is,
the Vatican. You're
bro?
talking
I
about
was
shit.
there. I have proof.
Homie, the shit you're
Are you
talking about
crazy, bro?
is
You're
being
crazy, bro. I
perpetrated
gotta
by
mute
people.
this
You
guy,
do not know
bro.
what
I
the
gotta
fuck
mute
you're.
him.
It's
How do you
not
mute
good.
this? Mute their Mac.
Man, fuck you,
You
Mike.
could just drop
Fuck
him, and if you
you,
want, make
Mike.
me co-host.
Click on his picture and hit
Drop him.
mute or drop.
And then
Mute.
if you make me co-host, I can make the room organized and keep the trolls out.
Mike is
Oh,
a
how do I do
bitch.
that?
You
Mike
just
is a
go to the
big
settings
bitch.
and you go just select and make co-host, or make Phil co-host. Anyone who's cool.
Okay, co-host.
Then we can get Patriot in the room and we can sort shit out.
Oh yeah.
Because
Okay,
we need to
perfect.
govern this shit.
Yeah, man. So Mike was, I guess, trying to intervene and help him out. But who knows, man, you know? And it got weird, you know. He said the shit you're talking about is being perpetrated by people. I don't know what he meant by that. I think he probably meant that like people are just like feeding him disinformation or something. But again, the stuff Ryan Garcia is saying isn't false. Again, it's probably just the delivery. So was Mike actually concerned for him, or was he like a fucking, you know, Illuminati bot handler trying to get him to stop? Who knows? But what I didn't like also was how the Twitter people, right? The Twitter conspiracists who are placating Ryan Garcia's psychosis, said at the end, like, you know, yeah, we need to shut him up and we need to govern this shit. It's like, whoa, dude, like govern this shit? Like, what do you mean? Like, this is what I don't like. It's like there's just like this strict us versus them thing. It's like, no, like let Mike speak, bro. Let him speak. Like just like shut him up. And we're like, yeah, we need to stop, right? You know? So it's like these Twitter conspiracists are trying to like take advantage of the situation, and then like in a weird way they're becoming the handlers, right? Like we need to govern this shit. What the fuck, you know? So it's a dangerous position to be in for Ryan Garcia because he doesn't trust anybody. So you can't really tell who's trying to help him and who's not trying to help him. You know, so it's a dangerous place to be in, man, especially when you throw in religion too. And I wanted to say this earlier. It's like, you know, when you start to like take the Bible literally, you know, and you start to like freak out. You know, I mean, like all these, right? Like you got all these cult leaders who have, like, what's that dude's name with the Waco cult? Forgot his name, but you know that cult in Waco where they thought they were like opening up the seven seals to the new kingdom of heaven or whatever. It's like, man, religion, bro, religion and psychosis do not mix, because you start to think that you're like on this mission for God. Like God has appointed me to come and fucking set the captives free and kill all you demons. It's like, oh, bro, like I've met a lot of people like that too, dude, who like my friend, actually, I had a friend who like would smoke meth and would frequently fall into these psychoses where he thought he was doing God's will and that there were demons everywhere and he had to go exorcise them and shit. So it's like, it's a dangerous place, man. It's a dangerous place to be in for Ryan Garcia. And there's really not much he can do. At that point, the people who love him, sincerely love him, have to step in. There comes a point in life sometimes where you can't help yourself, and you're so far gone that you don't even know you need help. And so at that point, the responsibility has surpassed him, and the people that sincerely love him have to step in, and they might not know how to help. And so they need guidance too on how to properly help somebody who's going through a Kundalini awakening or psychosis. But yeah, we're going to get into the clips with his wife. And these are a bit more interesting, for sure, because, she's like the closest person to him. And I think it kind of gives us more context and depth into how he is acting at home and behind the scenes. Let's check it out.
Are you guys ready for this?
No.
Yeah, we're ready, bro.
You're not in the right mindset.
I am in the right mindset. See, now you're gonna make them think I'm not, though. You're doing something that's not like it's not right. Just because I'm exposing everybody and I can't be touched.
Stop. Hang up.
No, I'm not.
Hang up.
Nope. Just because I'm telling the truth, I'm finally the only one telling the truth about everybody, right?
Stop, bro.
And because I have the information. Nope, I'm not gonna stop. Can you get out of here?
Hang up.
I got a question.
Bro, fucking hang up.
So is it
You
just you
wanna
saying
act
it?
retarded right now? I'm gonna protect you if you don't hang up right now. If I don't.
Yo,
know
Ryan.
No, you don't know shit though.
Ask God.
Because as of right now, you're not living with God. I'm trying to do this for God, and you're trying to do it for yourself. I'm just speaking the truth.
What about
I asked for a space live, and they gave me the opportunity. Please, in Jesus' name, please. You're f***ing it all up.
what?
You're f***ing everything up.
What am I? Your protection?
No, I've already said enough. It doesn't matter.
You literally.
I've already done
These
enough
people
tweets.
don't care about you.
They do though.
They care about a story.
They won't put it out
They
unless
care
I
about
tell them
life.
yes or no.
Why do you think they're asking you if you're mentally in a good space?
Because they want to know.
Do you think they care about you?
Yes.
No, they're gonna put it on the fucking newspaper fucking forum and be like, I asked Ryan Garcia if he's in a mentally good
Yo,
place.
Ryan, I care about you, bro. Don't
You're
worry.
possessed. All right, what's up? I think you are. Because I haven't said one lie. I'm not lost.
A lot of things. I feel like you shouldn't
No,
talk
they're not
about it
recording.
now.
Hey, Ryan, I
Let's
just have
talk
a
about it
question.
off.
What's your
You're trying to stop what I'm trying to do.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to expose everybody.
You're exposing yourself.
Ryan,
Not.
to be honest with you, I believe that she's got your best interest at heart.
Yeah, man. So she's obviously concerned, and he's like calling her a demon, saying she's possessed. And shout out to the guy at the end who said, yo, I think she has your best interest at heart. Because I think she does, I think she's afraid for what he's going to do. And you can kind of tell where his mental state is at, because in the beginning of that, he said, oh, why? Because I'm trying to expose them and I can't be touched, so he obviously has this like mind state where he thinks that he's protected by God, and he might be, I don't know. But again, it's a dangerous place to be in, when you start turning against the people that love you, who are probably actually genuinely trying to look out for you. She doesn't know all this stuff. I don't know. I'm assuming like she doesn't know about Bohemian Grove, Illuminati, and all that. And honestly, it's not everybody's job to know that. I've always said that. Like, what he's doing is noble, but if it starts damaging your home life, then how noble can it really be? I think he needs some real rest and time away from the world, time with his family, time with some professional help to really sort this out and reanalyze how to go forward with the mission in a way where it's not going to damage his home life, damage his mental health, and tarnish his image, which is important too, because if your image is tarnished in the industry, it's going to block you from opportunities, which are going to block you from expanding your abundance for your family and for your people. So yeah, man, it's like, to me, it shows a lot about where he's at, because it's like he's putting more emphasis on giving time and effort to the social media and exposing this than figuring out how he's going to uplift his family and be there for them because of what he knows. right? I mean, the knowledge is there. What's happening in the world is there. And exposing it to the world is a noble cause, but I mean, is the way he's going about it is unnecessary, you know, because ultimately what that knowledge should do for you is make you realize that, yeah, it's going on, but it should also cause you to want to be there for your family even more. And as a man, sometimes you can't just go home and be like, yo, they're fucking murdering kids, Illuminati's real, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, no, you can't startle your people with the information. You know, the true leader, the true man, you know, will come home with the information and not allow it to seep into the minds and hearts of their people with fear, but simply act upon the knowledge and uplift their family and people with the knowledge that they have, you know, with the understanding that they have. You know, okay, yeah, the world is corrupt. What can I do to protect my family even more? What can I do to educate my family even more so that they are also prepared and aware of it? See what I'm saying? Yeah, so we're going to close this out with the last few clips. And these last clips have to do with the aftermath. You know, where is he at? And strangely, after most of this, he kind of reverted on what he was saying. You'll see in one of the last clips, he had to give this weird cryptic message that was obviously written for him about, you know, him kind of like shutting up or whatever. So somebody intervened, you know, whether that was his sponsorships or whatever, somebody intervened and got him to kind of revert from saying all this stuff. Before we close out, I also want to go over this strange clip where somebody asked him about money and his investments. And again, you can hear somebody in the background, his friend or something, telling him to shut up and to keep it confidential, which is strange and just kind of tells me that, like, there are people in his life who are kind of guiding him on what to say and what to do. Check it out.
Go into the money and go into
my
the stuff
investment. I invested in AI robots and keep it confidential. All right, never mind. All right, but I'm basically a billionaire already. And keep it confidential. All right, never mind.
Yeah, kind of weird. He was talking about investing in AI robots or whatever, which is strange. You know, it's like, okay, if you believe in Christ and you're against the devil, like, why would you invest in AI robots, bro? That is the Antichrist. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I'm not against capitalism and taking advantage of the system because it's going to take advantage of you anyway. So, motherfucking get that Skrilla up, bro, so that we can flip it and use it for good means. But yeah, just strange. I don't know who that was in the background. They're all, keep it confidential. Like, what? I mean, maybe they just want to hide their investments. I don't know. Or they just don't want to, like, you know, give out pointers and free game to the people. But again, it's just strange. It just shows me that there are people in his life who are kind of dictating what he can and cannot say.
Tell you what's not. He is definitely not performing. He is not an actor, and he is not trying to get eyeballs by looking crazy. There was something going on there. People have speculated to drug use. I'm not going off of that, but this is not an act, and I don't know what it is.
Guys, it's me, Ryan. I'm coming on here to explain what's going on. I'm not in possession of my phone. I can't get access to my Instagram. My cards are locked. And I'm just being real, you know, I'm being real taken advantage. And I personally wanted just to send out a video to the people that love me and my fans and family that's concerned that I'm okay. I'm not dead. I believe in Jesus. All those are lies. And, you know, they try to put me in jail. They're blocking my cards. I can't access my money. Nobody's hitting me back. I don't know what's going on, but just know I'm okay. Here to announce my return back to Instagram. Now, over these past couple days, you guys have seen some pretty intense things. I understand what they are and I understand what they look like. But I'm coming back to announce I'm not going to speak on any other topic other than boxing, sports, and my fight. That's the only thing I'm going to be talking about. And I'm training for this fight. I want everybody to know this fight's still on. 420, 5 weeks of super focus.
I have PBD helping me in this camp and many other warriors. So I thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys on 420.
Strange stuff, man. Yeah, he definitely changed up his attitude. Somebody intervened and got him to stop exposing the truth and to just go back to focusing on boxing. So before I end with the last clip, I want to give you my conclusion. And so I could be wrong. We could all be wrong. We don't know, man. But based off of what I've seen and what I've experienced in my own life, again, I think this was a young man who did have a spiritual experience, which caused him to spiral into a Kundalini / psychosis awakening. And it was hard for him to sustain that and control it. And because of that, the people around him thought he was going crazy and were concerned for him. And also with that, the populace placated it and further fueled his psychosis. And ultimately, somebody intervened and got him to stop speaking out. And that might not have been the best method to help his psychosis and his Kundalini awakening, but it was definitely an effective method to save his image and his business, which again might not be the best method to go about this. That's not what he needs. You know, the focus here shouldn't be the money, the sponsorships, the image. The focus should be his mental health, and we should be asking, yo, Ryan, like what's going on? Like I listened to a lot of these Twitter spaces that he was on to prepare for this video, and nobody was really asking him important, deep questions about his mind and what actually happened to him. They were just like placating the whole thing. Like, yeah, I'm there with you, brother. Fucking the Illuminati, they suck, whatever. But nobody was really getting deep into what's going on with him. And so somebody needs to ask him, you know, okay, let's take this from the beginning. Like what happened, bro? Like, what did you see? When did this start? How can I help you? You know, it's like somebody needs to go through a genuine therapeutic process with him to help him out. I mean, this is a man who's freaking the fuck out, who thinks that children's heads are being cut off and that their blood is being drinking, you know? And yeah, sure, that might be happening, but like, us here in the conspiracy community, truther community, we hear stuff like that all the time. It doesn't faze us, right? But this is a person who's like freaking the fuck out, who's like living this in their mind right now. Like, what the fuck? What do I do? You know? So it's like, that's pretty detrimental to your health, dude, to like sit there and just spiral into that day in and day out. So yeah, I think ultimately he needs somebody who really cares about him to help him out, you know? Yeah, bro. That's my conclusion. And so I'm going to end it off with this clip that I think is pretty cool. This is before his meltdown. So I think this is kind of the real Ryan Garcia we're seeing. I mean, it's all real, but this is the more collected, tranquil Ryan Garcia that we will see. And I think this is his true message here. And this is kind of where everything is coming from ultimately. And if we can only get him back to this state, I think his mission will be much more impactful and effective. So I'm going to end it after the clip. So thank you for hanging out with me. Fucking love you all. Peace. Namaste.
True understanding comes from within. So unless you're willing to search for it and with trying hard, just like you do in everything else, you'll never find it. Amen. Because it's only going to come within you. I could scream to the world. I could scream to you all day long. You know, Jesus is the answer, which I will, because what I've learned, because I have such a mind like that, I've came to that conclusion. But again, it's all within yourself. You have to search. You have to try to find, you have to ask constantly. And then, you know, that's how you find out. You have to seek, and then you'll find.